Harry Pedigo again. We're doing a binge motivational and philosophical card block here. Okay? Wanted to talk about something that I see happening in middle schools and in high schools and some colleges. Okay? Students and children are being pandered to by teachers, and I'll tell you how, especially by teachers of English. And this is it's like a cardinal sin. It's you are doing an injustice not only to the kids, but to the future of our world, okay? I see so many kids in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, high school kids, and they're reading literature, which is either at their grade level or below it, okay? This is called pandering, okay? I don't know when we really started to see young adult novels become a thing. It seems like Harry Potter was sort of a milestone in that. In some ways, maybe books even as old as like the Chronicles of Narnia might have been oriented for children, although those are accepted by adult audiences too. The issue is writers and teachers are pandering to children to sell books to kids. Now, I get that you're trying to get kids to read, but what they're accomplishing as an indirect consequence of this is kids are reading literature which, compared to the stuff that people, my age and people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. were reading as a kid, is the stuff nowadays is a literal joke. It's a joke. It's not challenging literature. It's the cotton candy. It's candy of the literary world. And so what I'm saying, or trying to articulate, is that we need to have a movement in the United States where people are not reading at their reading level, right? They're not being assigned books that are, this is grade appropriate. Now, I'm not saying, of course, that you need to get some kid and read Crime and Punishment at the age of, 12 years old, okay? Let's make that clear. What I am saying, though, is by assigning, as a teacher, or as a parent, assigning or having your children read books that are above their grade level is in fact going to not only introduce them to classical literature, but also is going to really hone their critical thinking skills and is going to make them more well-rounded adults, not just in regard to appreciating literature, but in addressing quandaries, questions in life, right? When you're reading, I was reading with the kids today in my 7th grade class, I was reading a speech by Martin Luther King Jr., okay? Kids don't know what the heck Martin Luther King Jr. is trying to say, okay? They don't get it. It wasn't written for children. It wasn't written to be read necessarily in 2018 in a classroom, but it is, and it's beautiful, as it should be. But the point is, it's above their level of understanding and comprehension, not by a lot, but by enough to challenge them. If you sit down with a kid and you read that together, or if you assign it and say, raise some questions about this, they are going to develop far more well-rounded understanding of the world, literature, their own mind, critical thinking. And I think you're not going to accomplish that goal by assigning kids or letting kids read, Captain Underpants when they're 10 years old, okay? That's not going to happen. It's not even going to happen with Harry Potter. Love Harry Potter, love it to death. Great series. But you're not going to accomplish anything meaningful if Harry Potter is the most advanced thing you're reading at the age of 13. Right? We need kids to be reading The Count of Monte Cristo, right? We need kids to be reading Macbeth. We need kids at a young age to be challenged to the point where they feel like they're overwhelmed by what they're reading. Like, I don't understand it. Good. Now you have to try to do something. We're not spoon feeding you guys anymore, right? And this is something that needs to change in our education system. It needs to change. I was exposed to Shakespeare at a young age. Hated it. Hated it when I was like 11, 12. Had to read it though. Had to understand it. Wasn't my favorite. I got into college later on, UC. Took a course which everybody said, oh my gosh, this guy, this professor of Shakespeare, this is a capstone class. Everybody in the English department has to take it. It's a nightmare. One of my favorite classes of all time. One of my favorite classes truly of all time. Went on to take multiple courses in Shakespearean literature. And I think that it was because it wasn't something scary, spooky. It wasn't something that was, oh gosh, that sounds challenging. No. Been there, done that. I bought the t-shirt, We need to make a push, an effort, intentional effort in our classrooms and with our kids, with our sons and daughters to challenge and to stimulate, to have them raise questions, to make them confused to a certain degree with literature. And I think that is truly the key for a well-rounded, very critical thinking oriented person. You have to have that. And it's not happening now. We need to change it.